Good morning, everyone. So today is an odds and ends gardening day. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, I have a bunch of plant stuffs that need to go in the ground, just odds and ends chores that need to be done. I probably won't get to all of it. Our new walkway out here really needs to be weeded with all of the rain and everything that came in last week. Wasn't able to get out here and take care of it the way that it needed to be taken care of. That will probably be for another video, however. And come on, girls. Where's your sister? Roxy's upstairs getting into trouble. I already know it. Roxy! Come on, let's go. Come on. Come on. Good girl. All right. The dogs are out. Now I have, as of today, I have 2 chamomile plants that need to go into the permaculture area out back. I have 5 heuchera. This is new ones that we got in. That 3 of them need to go around our original Rosa Sharon, and then 2 of them are going over along the side bed, and then the tarragon that came in is going to be going in the newly expanded herb bed. That'll be the easy planting, comparatively speaking anyway. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the heuchera that go around our lovely Rose of Sharon, and I will see you in a minute. Ooh. Okay, so now that the weeds and all are mostly cleared away, I'm going to go on ahead and tell you a little bit about this heuchera. So this is called a heuchera sugar berry. It's got deep violet berry foliage, as you can see. It's really, really pretty. And it is going to have a pink flower that comes up out of it. And it's going to be kind of edged in silver once it reaches full maturity. I'm just going to do the same thing that we did with the other Rosa Sharon tree and put this around so that it'll kind of grow in a circular manner, and it should look really, really beautiful underneath all of this. Gorgeous tree, because this Rosa Sharon has a white bloom with a pink, hot pink center. So this is going to be a really, really pretty complement to that. Let's go ahead and get these guys put in. Alright. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'm kind of working around some root structures in here. I suspect those belong to the tree, so I'm trying not to break them too badly. Not that if I did, it would really be majorly detrimental, but I'm just trying not to do any more in there than absolutely necessary. Trees will reach out just naturally and bond with surrounding plant structures, which is part of the reason that we're doing this. You'll often see, if you pay really close attention, that there's usually a low-lying type of moss surrounding the tree or is close to the tree. I'm just gonna snip this off here. And to deviate from what I was just talking about, I'm gonna go ahead and take off this core. It's biodegradable, but I have noticed that sometimes things like this just don't biodegrade fast enough for the plant itself, and really tiny roots of the plant will sometimes not be able to push through that coconut core. So I take them off for that reason. Not that there's anything wrong with the coconut core, not that it won't biodegrade eventually, but I just don't want to risk losing my plant. I'm just sticking a good compost and manure blend in. But anyway, back to trees. They will bond with the surrounding plants that are near them. And you'll often see within, I don't know, several feet, that you will start to have moss pop up. And moss is very interesting when it comes to trees. It's not necessarily bad, but they are there. There's dead leaves here. Moss actually, it acts like a neurotransmitting communicator between the tree and itself. Small electrical currents go between the two, so they are in effect talking to one another. There's more of this real grass. I hate real grass. Don't tell my neighbor, but I hate real grass. And I hate that his real grass is over in my not real grass. Okay. Now, thankfully, I had dug in over here a little bit last year to plant what you see here, onions. And that is a trick that I recommend if you are dealing with Japanese beetles. Japanese beetles kept demolishing this tree, take all of the blooms, clean off of it. I cried every year. It was awful. I mean, they just ate it down to leaves. So I did a little bit of research, come to find out, this guy kind of got chop sueyed by our lawn guy, but that's alright. That onion, in particular, it doesn't just prevent them from eating on it, it actually will kill the larvae. Because what they do is they go up into the trees and they eat on them during the day, then they go down, lay their eggs at the base of the tree at night, and so that's why you keep having influx after influx after influx of them, is because they're literally just eating and sleeping underneath your tree. And we did lose one crepe myrtle. See? See if I can show you this. That is one of their larvae. So moles love to eat them as well. That's why I don't get upset. I don't set out mole traps. The moles are more than welcome to come and eat as many grubs as they can consume. Because I absolutely hate Japanese beetles. Quite a few on this side, but the onion will actually cause the larva to deform in its maturing process, and then they won't reach adulthood. which means they won't be coming up to eat on my beautiful tree. So, and you do this multiple years in a row. The other thing is you will begin to have significantly less and less and less over the course of even just 3 years. You'll have negligible amounts of those guys popping up and eating on things. And last year they actually moved on me. They moved out back into the permaculture area. They were eating on my zinnias, of all things. I was not expecting that. I wasn't happy either. So there's onions out back as well. And for us here where we are, we're technically a 7A, zone 7A, with the climate that we have in the hills of the Ozarks. We're pretty forgiving out here when it comes to planting onion. Most places plant it at specific times. I can pretty much grow it year-round and eat it fresh, which suits me just jim dandy. Oh, you could also do garlic. Come to think of it, garlic does the exact same thing to the Japanese beetles. So if you don't want to plant onion, you could always do garlic instead. Nothing at all wrong with that. All right. Got our last one, I think. You guys can flopped over and see some of the mulch from last year. This just kind of got a little overgrown. I was able to do a little bit more being furloughed last year, and I have been this year, so I have not gotten to all the little chores that I would like to get to under normal circumstances, but that is life. Let's see if I can get you settled here. Tripod's wanting to fall over on me. Okay. I think we're gonna go for right about there. That seems pretty friendly. A lot of people also, spring, fall, they will top dress their trees, give them a bag of compost all the way around. There's different schools of thought on it. I am not one who does that. I'm not saying that I neglect another. That's more Japanese beetles over here. Larvae. I'm not somebody who is against it, but trees in their natural habitat, granted, what I've got here is a cultivated variety. They don't always get bags of compost dumped in. They have to live with what they get. Rain, nutrients, all of it. And I've found over time that when I baby my trees too much, they just don't thrive as much. So there's balance between giving them what they absolutely need to survive under certain circumstances. There are times, obviously, when disease can occur, and I would do whatever I needed to do to help protect my beautiful Rose of Sharon here that way and help her out, which is part of what we actually did because we had a pest problem, aka Japanese beetles. But I do not want to overly baby her. I want her to be able to be strong and resilient on her own, be able to stand on her own roots in effect. Although she will benefit from some of this compost and manure as well that I'm putting in these guys. So it's not just gonna be for them, it'll be for her as well. You'll notice I'm planting these guys pretty deep. There's still a chance that we could have frost. I think we are mostly past, I think we're mostly past that stage right now. But just in case, I want to make sure that at least the rootstock survives, because if the rootstock survives, it shouldn't be a problem coming back when plants are healthy anyway. It's not always foolproof, but it does tend to help the plants come back should anything occur. All right, now we just need some mulch around it, and this section is good to go. Putting mulch down is not an absolute requirement. I do this mostly for our lawn guy because I don't want him to think that these are weeds and to come in with the weed whacker and completely and utterly demolish them. So, you know, you don't have to do this, but I'm doing it just for those reasons. Okay, that's that. That will also help with water retention too. If you want to be more precise with your mulching, that's up to you. I'm not overly worried about it because the plan is for these to take over and act basically like a mulch and keep the yard out. And this is just to help with water retention too, to give these new plants a fair shake at starting life in general. All right, so we're gonna move on to the other two heuchera that need to go in the side garden. Whew, falling over on me here, guys. Okay, so that's what happens when you're on gravel. This is the other heuchera. This just came in. It is black. I don't know what the name of it is. There's no tag. It came from a small family grower. So this is supposed to be like a low mounding variety, which is nice. And we're sticking it over here on the side garden where we have mostly things that are in the purple and pink category. And this one is so purple, it's almost black. I can't remember what the color of the flower is supposed to be, but I have a feeling it's gonna go quite nicely over here. So let's go on ahead and get this going. Burning daylight. Seems to be just one of those days where time's flying quicker than I would like it to. All right, here we go. Shh. Okay, let's go ahead and get this baby in. Got two of them. I may not get as far today as I would like to. That happens from time to time. I'm sure all of you know the feeling. More on the plate than time allotted to do it. Under here I do have a small amount of paper. So I'm basically just going to be punching through. As best I can. Wash your fingers for me. I don't have too much. Trouble with big ugly rocks. We grow rocks really well here in the Ozarks. Pretty sure that's why the Scots-Irish settled here. It was just really familiar landscape for them when they came over from Europe. A lot of their superstitions came over with them as well. Not a lot of people are aware of that. As well as their tendency for bootlegging. A number of unauthorized stills hidden in the backwoods here. No, I'm not surprised, and no, there's not much you can do about it unless you want to get yourself shot. You're sticking your nose where it doesn't belong, according to them. But they have lived that way for hundreds of years. They're sort of in the I think they're technically categorized in Appalachia culture. Don't quote me on that. So they have their own dialects, their own laws. They live off-grid here in the Ozarks, and you don't even really know that they're there 90% of the time. They usually only come down from their mountain homes in the caves once a year, maybe to see a doctor, get treatment for something. Even then, that's very few and far between that they do that. They're very rough and tumble type people, and I can appreciate that. I can respect their ways and their traditions. It's totally fine with me. Just one of the little neat factoids about this area. All right, one in. Second one. Let's get you in somewhere over the rainbow. Let's see if I can't kind of get this sort of lined up here, so we have at least some form of consistency. You're gonna go right there, guys. Again. When I do this, I'm literally just punching an X in, and if you are planting in a weed barrier, this is just general information now, try to make your X a little bit bigger than the hole that you're gonna make, basically. It'll just give you some maneuverability when you're digging out to plant whatever it is that you're planting. And as you can see, it's mostly clay. So it's part of why I have a compost and manure blend that I use. No, I have not done soil testing here on our land. I don't see a reason to waste the money on it, to be honest. There are some of you who live in different areas, of course, and use your own discretion, but when it comes right down to it, I don't see a need to waste my money on something when I feel like the answer is going to be the same, and that is just add compost. Just add good broken down compost and all will be well. So I'm not a big person who wastes money on things. It's usually difficult for my friends and family to get me to even buy myself clothing, and to not, spend my birthday money on something practical. But that's just me. All right, I put a few of the rocks that I dug up here down in the bottom. That's gonna be to assist with drainage since it is clay. And I did take my trowel
that was probably, I don't know if you could see that real well, but I took my trowel and I was poking it in around and loosening up the soil past where I was digging. And that was primarily so that when the roots start to go down, number one, they're not sitting in soggy clay. Soggy clay can be really bad and give root rot and cause root rot issues. You don't want that. And breaking up the clay in the surrounding sections of where the plant is going to eventually finger out its roots, it will just give that plant a little bit of a head start. It won't have to force its way into the surrounding soil that I haven't amended. And some people, when they do things like this, they will go in and they will till everything up underneath and amend the soil that way. I'm kind of a no-dig girl. I feel like if you just give the existing soil what it needs to thrive, it will. And there's no sense in doing extra unnecessary work. This was a spot that had some overlap. Okay. And the rock is good. It will help the water percolate down and keep it moist. So if I have a very busy week and I forget to come over here and water, that will help to keep the root base moist. Okay. Let's go on ahead and move on to our tarragon plants. Okay, so welcome to the garden bed. This is our expanded herb bed, and I'm planting in here, which you can see here out of the corner of your eye. That is one of the lavender. This is the lavender that I usually historically have harvested all of our lavender for all of my products off of. If you haven't seen any of them, go on ahead and check it out over on Fragrances of Eden. There should be a link. And this is starting to really come to life, thankfully. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. We had that cold that had come in and dropped about a foot of snow here. But before that, we had a couple, well, almost a week worth of days where it was in the 70 and 80 degree weather category. And it was a little bit early. So this had started to bud out on me, and I had panicked a bit because it was too soon. And so far this, and it's a Czech lavender, so far this is the one that has seemed to survive the most, but for our zone, we tend to be a bit moist here for the lavender plants. They like dry, rocky, basically unfriendly soil. And that's not what we have here, but the Czech lavender is a little bit different that way. I was lucky enough to have some friends who had a French lavender that I had gotten a bunch of flowers off of before they got rid of it as well. And these guys here This smells so good. I mean, it does. This is our tarragon plant. Now, for some reason, tarragon is not commonly found here in our area. I don't know why. I guess a lot of people don't cook with it here, which is interesting. Some say that it has a licorice type flavor. I never felt that it was real licoricey. And I'm a person who actually likes licorice, so you know, it's one of those, taste is kind of subjective when it comes to certain things like this, I guess. So we had to special order this in, and the goal and the reason that I'm putting one of these in the main bed is to hopefully have a lot of tarragon, because we never have enough tarragon, and we're hoping this thing just goes banana balls, so to speak. I think I'm gonna put this guy down here. What do you think? I think over here would be good. Now, I have other things in holes as well, certain things. Anything in the mint family. Never ever, and I mean never ever put it in a big bed unless you want it to take over that bed, because mint is a bully. It is a bully. That's the only word that I can think of. I've heard other gardeners call it a bully, and they're not wrong. Mint will take over. Now, there are some things that you may want to take over, and maybe you do want a mint plant to take over a certain area to help choke out something else. If you do, great. But my mints are all in holes. I didn't really feel like being overly masochistic. But the main things that we want a lot of are going to be going in the big bed here. So I have tarragon, I have a purple sage, we're hoping is going to get to be a big bush in here, and I'm going to put a thyme plant right down there, I think. Because we never have enough thyme. Last year we did not have enough sage. We didn't have enough tarragon. In fact, last year I couldn't find a tarragon plant to save my life. So this is one of the thyme plants that I divided out, and I was able to get 3, and they have so far all survived, which is good. Sometimes when you divide out, you will lose one of the divides. It's not uncommon. The thyme, however, this year really decided that it was gonna live. So that is good. I'll have 2 in the holes. So I'll have 2 in holes to glean from, and then hopefully this will bush out like the sage. And the sage, the thyme, oregano, marjoram is another good one. They will come back in most zones. You just have to cut them back at the end of season, and then just wait, because they'll grow off of dead wood, so you don't want to leave a bunch of dead wood on them. You can see this is all basically new growth off of old wood. And so if you're looking for herbs to take over a space, to just help choke out other things, go on ahead and put things in like sage, rosemary, oregano, thyme, marjoram, and then when fall hits, cut them back, dry what you can, and then next year they'll probably get even bigger than they were the first year that you did it. Another good one to take over is chamomile, and that's what I'm going to be putting in now. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this log back, go and get my wonderful little hoe, and start getting some of the existing weeds that we don't want. Let me preface that because this is the permaculture bed and there are a bunch of wildflowers over here. But there is some native stuff that I need to cut back since we are elongating this out a little bit further. And we will get that chamomile plant put in real quick. All right. The odds and ends are officially done and dusted. I'm just going to take a little bit of water, rinse off my garden tools. It doesn't take much to care for garden tools, just keep them rinsed off after you use them. And you'll be able to have them for years. Same with just about any tool. Keep them clean. They'll be your friends for a lifetime. Okay. Guys, I'm going to go in. I'm going to get cleaned up. And I'm going to head out to church. I hope you guys have an awesome Sunday. And as always, keep it simple, natural, and essential. I'll see you on the next one.